one of the issues with social media that's been pointed out by many people is that I think maybe particularly Instagram, people look like they have a much better life than they really do.
Right.
So
by design.
Yeah, people are posting pictures of when they're really happy. They're modifying those pictures to be better looking. Even if they're not modifying the pictures, they're at least selecting the pictures for the best lighting, the best angle. So people basically seem they're way better looking than they basically really are.
Right.
And they're way happier seeming than they really are. So if you look at everyone on Instagram, you might think, man, there are all these happy, beautiful people, and I'm not that good looking, and I'm not happy. So I must suck, and that's going to make people sad. So when in fact, those people you think are super happy, actually not that happy. Some of them are really depressed. They're very sad. Some of the happiest seeming people, actually some of the saddest people in reality. And nobody looks good all the time. It doesn't matter who you are.
No. It's not even something you should want. Why do you want to look great all the time?
Yeah, exactly. So I think things like that can make people quite sad.
Anybody does show, hashtag no filter. If they really do that, like, oh, you're so brave. Look at you. No makeup.
Yeah.
They look good anyway. You look great. What are you doing? Oh my God, you don't have makeup on. You still look hot as fuck. You know what you're doing. I know what you're doing too. They're letting you know, and then they're feeding off that comment section. Ooh, just a little sitting there like it's a fresh stream of love. Like you're getting right up to the source as it comes out of the earth, and you're sucking that
lot of
sweet
emojis.
love water.
Emojis.
Yeah.
A lot of emojis.
My concern is not so much what Instagram is that I didn't think that people had the need for this or the expectation for some sort of technology that allows them to constantly get love and adulation from strangers and comments and this ability to project this sort of distorted version of who you really are. But I worry about where it goes. Like, what's the next one? What's the next one? Like, where is it? Is it going to be augmented? Some sort of a weird augmented or virtual sort of Instagram type situation where you're not going to want to live in this real world. You're going to want to interface with this sort of world that you've created through your social media page. It's some next level thing.
Go live in the simulation.
Yeah, maybe
in the simulation.
Some Ready Player One type shit that's real.
It will be, at some point, indistinguishable from reality.
Where we'll lose this. We'll lose this. Like, you and I are just looking at each other through our eyes.
This could be some simulation.
It could. Do you entertain that?
Well, the argument for the simulation, I think, is quite strong. Because if you assume any improvement at all over time, any improvement, 1%, 0.1%, just extend the time frame, make it 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. What would civilization, if you're very generous, civilization is maybe 7,000 or 8,000 years old, if you count it from the first writing. This is nothing. So if you assume any rate of improvement at all, then games will be indistinguishable from reality. Or civilization will end. One of those two things will occur. Therefore, we are most likely in a simulation.
Or we're on our way
exist.
to one, right? Well, but just because we exist, we could most certainly be on the road. We could be on the road to that, right? It doesn't mean that it has to have already happened.
We could be in base reality.
We could be here now on our way to the road or on our way to the destination where this can never happen again, where we are completely ingrained in some sort of an artificial technology or some sort of a symbiotic relationship with the internet or the next level of sharing information. But right now we're not there yet. That's possible too, right? It's possible that a simulation is one day going to be inevitable, that we're going to have something that's indistinguishable from regular reality. But maybe we're not there yet. That's also possible. That we're not quite there yet. That this is real. When I touch that,
it feels very real. Anyway, I don't want to sound like things are too dark, because I think like you kind of have to be optimistic about the future. There's no point in being pessimistic. It's just too negative.
It doesn't help.
It doesn't help. I think you want to be. I mean, my theory is like you'd rather be optimistic. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right.
Right.
Or at least err on that side.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you're pessimistic, you're just going to be miserable.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to be around you anyway. If it's the end of the world, you're like, I fucking told you, bro.
Yeah.
The world's
Exactly.
ending. Yeah. It is what it is for all. I mean,
enjoy the journey.
Right. If you really want to get morose, I mean, it is what it is for all of us anyway. We're all going to go, unless something changes.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, even if we just sort of existed as humans forever, we'd still eventually, that'd be like the heat death of the universe.
Right.
A zillion years from now.
Right. Even if we get it past the sun. If we figure out a way past the sun running out of juice.
Eventually it's going to end. It's just a question of when.
Right.
So it really is all about the journey.
Or transcendence from whatever we are now into something that doesn't worry about death.
The universe as we know it will dissipate into a fine mist of cold nothingness eventually.
And then someone's going to bottle it and put a fragrance to it, sell it to French people in another dimension.
It's just a very long time. So
Yeah.
I think it's really just about how can we make it last longer.
Are you a proponent of the multi-universes theory? Do you believe that there are many, many universes and that even if this one fades out, that there's other ones that are starting fresh right now and there's an infinite number of them and they're just constantly in this never-ending cycle of birth and death?
I think most likely, this is just about probability, there are many, many simulations. These simulations we might as well call them reality, or you could call them the multiverse.
These simulations you believe are created? Like someone has manufactured?
They're running on the substrate.
So...
That substrate is probably boring.
Boring?
Mm-hmm.
How so?
Well, when we create a simulation, like a game or a movie, it's a distillation of what's interesting about life. Like it can take a year to shoot an action movie. And then that's all distilled down into 2 or 3 hours. So let me tell you, if you see an action movie being filmed, it's boring. Super boring. There's like lots of takes. Everything's in a green screen. Looks pretty goofy. Doesn't look cool. But once you add the CGI and have great editing, it's amazing. So I think most likely, if we're a simulation, it's really boring outside the simulation. Because why would you make a simulation that's boring? You make the simulation way more interesting than base reality. When you're in that virtual reality, which is only going to get better, where are you? Where are you really?
Right.
You aren't anywhere.
Well,
You're in the computer.
What defines where you are?
Exactly.
Right.
It's your perception.
Is it your perceptions, or is it a scale that we have under your butt? You're right here. I've measured you. You're the same weight as you were when you left. But meanwhile, your experience is
why do you
radically
think
different.
you're where you are right now? You might not be.
I'll spark up a joint if you keep talking. Your manager's going to come in here. We might have to lock the door.
Right now, you think you're in a studio in LA.
That's what I heard.
You might be in a computer.
Oh, listen, man. I think about this all the time. Yeah, I mean, it's unquestionable that one day that'll be the case. As long as we keep going. As long as nothing interrupts us. And if we start from scratch and, we're single-celled organisms all over again, and then millions and millions of years later we become the next thing that is us with creativity and the ability to change its environment, it's going to keep monkeying with things until it figures out a way to change reality. To change, to almost like punch a hole through what is this thing into what it wants it to be and create new things. And then those new things will intersect with other people's new things. And then it'll be this ultimate pathway of infinite ideas and expression all through technology.
Yeah.
And then we're going to wonder, like, why are we here? What are we doing?
Let's find out.
Well,
I mean, I think we should take the actions, the set of actions that are most likely to make the future better.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then reevaluate those actions to make sure that it's true.